back for episode 3 of the Euphorics Pod. Today we have on my good friend and talented disc jockey, Jamie Grossman, or better known as JAMO.
JAMO, yeah, that's what we're going by nowadays.
Yeah, that's what we're going by. I've known JAMO for a few years now, quite a few years, and I've seen him really grow as an artist, as a DJ, and you know, it's a pleasure having you on today, JAMO.
Oh yeah, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. It's pretty cool seeing this whole setup, and you really got things going. I love the logo. Shout out to my sister for making that, by the way.
Yes, that was all Jamie's sister who made that, which is a pretty fun fact.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, as you know, I've been DJing for a while now. I've been on the scene for a while now, and recently just decided, you know, time to do a podcast. For those of you who don't know my background with Jamie, Jamie and I were basically roommates for all 4 years of college, pretty much.
Yeah, literally like every year. I think maybe freshman year we were only roommates for the second half. The second half we were roommates. Right, the first half we weren't. But yeah, I mean, I met you my first weekend at Santa Barbara, right?
Yeah,
it must have been.
Yeah, we played FIFA.
Yeah, I remember that. We were playing, what was it? You were Liverpool, obviously, and I was United. I think you beat me 3-2, which was kind of a fluke, but
Liverpool always beats United.
Not really. Only recently, unfortunately for me, but
yeah, and I think over the last 3 out of the 4 times, the last 4 times we played you, it was 4-0, 5-0, and 7-0.
Yeah, we don't like to talk about it.
But yeah, man, it's been really awesome watching you grow as a DJ. What really got you into it first? Like,
jeez, man. I mean, honestly, a lot of it was you. I think I remember the first time you showed me house music. It was in our chapter house freshman year, and you were trying to like figure out what exactly I would enjoy. And I think I described it. I was like, I like the bassy stuff. And I didn't know what that meant at all. And what I really meant was that I like, you know, solid, groovy bass lines. I remember you played what was that track? The Chris Lake track, Turn Off the Lights, right? That like classic. Yeah. That was like the first like proper house track I ever heard. And then from there, I mean, what happened? Like, we went to Lightning in the Bottle in 2018, and that was my first festival, and that really kind of opened my eyes.
That was like not only your first festival.
Yeah.
That was like the first time you had ever seen a DJ.
Yeah. No. It was absurd. I had no idea who we were seeing. I think we saw Walker and Royce at some point.
Yeah, we did.
But like, and Lib was an interesting first festival to go to for sure.
Because that's not a beginner festival at all. Lightning in a Bottle. For those of you who don't know what it is, it's like if Coachella and Burning Man fucked and they had a baby festival. Yeah. That was Lightning in a Bottle, right? So it's not as like commercial as Coachella, but it's not as like raw as Burning Man, I guess.
Yeah, I guess that's a good way to put it. I mean, it was kind of a shock for sure, because the vibe at Lib, it's super wook. Right?
Yeah.
And I didn't even know what that word meant before I went to Lib, right?
So you wouldn't even know, like, if someone was like, oh, you're going to a wook festival.
Yeah,
like, what the fuck is that?
I had no idea. And then I'm like, you know, seeing people who haven't showered for like 4 days straight.
And then like, becoming one of those people.
I did not shower once that whole week.
I didn't shower once that Lib either.
It was disgusting. My dad would be disappointed. But but like, I think the really cool thing about Lib was just the vibes there. I mean, everyone's so friendly, and I think that's something just, it has to do with house music in general. Like, people are so like welcoming, and that was really surprising, because, you know, I've been to like some rap shows and like some other stuff, and everyone's kind of like to themselves and looking out for themselves. But at a house music festival, especially Lib, right, everyone's just like, you know, it's intimate, it's welcoming, people are friendly, like everyone's trying to make you feel as comfortable as possible, and everyone's just there to have a good time. I mean, it was fucking amazing, honestly.
Yeah, and it was honestly a wild decision on my end, bringing you there as your first festival, because I mean, I remember you, because most everyone else had fake IDs, right, at the time, and everyone was going to a lot of shows with fake IDs, or they had gone to Europe and gone to shows there.
Right.
And you didn't have a fake. Did you ever end up owning a fake?
Never.
Wow, you're like one of the few kids that just never had a fake.
I don't know how I like got through college without a fake, but I guess it worked out, because I mean, the first couple of years we were just throwing our own parties, I guess.
Yeah.
You know, you would mix and
you'd
play Fisher. Back then, when Fisher was popping off, like
that was before Fisher was what he is now.
Yeah, it was before losing it.
It was before losing it, and it was before even Stop It got released yet. I was playing it when it was a Dirty Bird ID, and because that's where he started, was Dirty Bird.
Yeah,
his first 2 tracks were Dirty Bird.
Yeah, I feel like also just ad lib, we mainly saw, at least from what I remember, Dirty Bird artists, right?
Well, we saw quite a few of Dirty Bird artists. I think I took you to Monolink.
Yeah, we must have seen Monolink. I know it was the first time I saw Chanel Trez, who's amazing.
Yeah, Channel Trez.
Yeah, Channel, not
Yeah.
Chanel. Right, yeah, it's close.
Close enough. And I'm trying to think who else we saw that lib. I don't even remember, dude. That was like, I'm pretty sure that lib that was my second time doing acid.
Yeah.
And I lost my marbles. I remember me and my girl, and we had to go back to the tent one day because we were just both losing our marbles, and
classic.
Yeah, we just ended up dying of laughter in the tent for hours.
Yeah, I mean, lib is the perfect place to trip.
Yeah,
right? It was the first time I took acid. I mean, I didn't take a lot, but I remember, 3 hours in, I was like looking at my friend Brandon. I was like, Brandon, I'm not feeling anything. Like, let's go back to the tent and take more. And he looked at me. He's like, James, he's like, you're tripping so hard that you've convinced yourself that you haven't felt a thing this entire time. And I was like, no, what do you mean? And then he told me the hand test, right? The classic. Like,
look at your hand.
Stare at your hands for like 2 minutes. And I did, and then I was like, holy fuck, like, I do not need to take more.
Yeah, no.
And that was crazy. First time with psychedelics. And there's something about house music and psychedelics that go really well together.
Yeah,
I'm not sure what that is, but
yeah, it's a weird thing that like taking psychedelics and listening to that type of music. It's like, I wonder if that music was born out of psychedelics, or if like how that association came to be.
It's possible. I mean, there's definitely some sort of association between the two.
Well, I think a lot of it was like in the 60s and 70s. You had people like really starting to rebel against the system, radical individuality,
right,
and individualism really started to take off. So what happened is like people were rebelling, and whether that was with the music genres, so they were going to these underground raves that were illegal, which was one form of rebellion, and then drugs.
Right.
Drugs is another form of rebellion, and over time, I guess people figured out what drugs work with that music and what drugs don't work with that music.
Right, 100%.
And like, this is kind of a little bit of a segue, but it's like with things like using shrooms or ketamine for medical research and to treat depression and things like that. It's like, I wonder who got the idea to use ketamine for depression. Were people using it recreationally first? Like, because it's a horse drug, really.
Right. I have no idea. I mean, I think there is something to be said about the effects of those kind of drugs, because if you look at those, especially when you compare it to something like cocaine or alcohol, they're a lot more like meditative, I would say.
They are, for sure.
I mean, that's why like shrooms or like LSD do have that kind of like enlightening effect on people, because it does put you in a meditative state. And I kind of have a theory of like why we kind of use those when we listen to house music, and it's because I think house music does the same. Like, house music kind of puts you in a meditative state. I'm not sure why. I mean, probably because of the tempo and because of the repetitive kick, but they kind of complement each other, right? So I think, anything you'd feel just taking a psychedelic or just listening to house music, it gets compounded when you do both, right? It's like, you don't go to a rap concert and trip. Like, people don't
Yeah,
do
no,
that
no.
because rap doesn't evoke that kind of emotion out of you.
It gives
right?
you a bad trip.
Yeah,
if you
exactly.
took that at like, if I went to a Suicide Boys concert on
Yeah.
acid, I'd be like, God, and mommy, where are you?
Right.
You
No,
know?
exactly. And at those kind of concerts, people like, what are people feeling? They're feeling like rowdy. you know?
Yeah.
So you take something that's gonna complement that, something like alcohol or cocaine, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's like at a rave, like you're not there to get rowdy. You're there to kind of like feel a bit flowy, right? And like that's what like psychedelics do too. So I think those just go hand in hand in that sense.
And it's important. It's important that we note that doses are very important, and knowing how much to take.
Very important.
So always pace yourself. Always be safe about it. Always test what you're doing. And that's a crazy thing too, is like the fact that we have to test everything nowadays. I feel like, like for us, it's more normal because or at least for me, like when I started doing drugs, I was testing it. The first time I ever tested my drugs I was 17 years old in Ibiza. And we bought drugs off literally some African guy on the street who was like, sunglasses? How about cocaine, Molly? And you're like, fuck, what do I do? And so we're saying no to all of these guys. Then we get to some store and we see like some really good looking British dude, and we're like, and he's like, oh hey, I just bought off any one of these blokes on the street. And like we're like, all right. So like we go back out to the African guy on the street and he's like, sunglasses? Or how about pills? And we're like, you have pills? And he's like, yes, pink monkey. Very good.
Pink monkey.
we take a step
that?
away. We're like, pink monkey? Like what the fuck is pink monkey?
Right.
It's like a type of pill. Honestly, I wonder if I can pull it up on the screen here.
Pink monkey. I don't know if I would trust someone trying to sell me pink monkey, to be honest.
Pink
He was probably selling it for dirt
monkey
cheap too, huh?
pill.
Let's see. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, it was like, no, it wasn't. It was like the emoji monkeys.
What's up with the
They don't have it here. It was like the you know the three monkeys with the emojis, like the ones that cover their eye.
yeah.
That's
like
what
classic scene.
Yeah, that's what like pink monkey is. And so we got like a drug test kit because we were like, okay, we're buying off this random guy on the street here.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we want to be safe. And it turned out it had DXM or DMX in it, which is like a form of codeine or cough syrup. So the drug test came back like negative. So it was essentially, or positive, whatever. It was contaminated. It was contaminated.
Okay. Got it.
And it was contaminated with like DXM or whatever it is, like some gross drug. We were like, well, if it's only cough syrup, like we could take it, like, you know. And that was like probably one of the worst decisions I've ever made.
Dude, you never know what's in that shit.
Yeah. And even though we tested it, we knew it was contaminated, decided to take it. I had a horrible time. We went to Ushuaia, which is like one of the bigger clubs in Ibiza. And I will be having an Ushuaia guest on in a couple months. So stay tuned for that, folks.
Check that out.
But yeah, I had a horrible time at Ushuaia. Me and my friend Lucas both ended up throwing up, just in the middle, essentially. And then I was like, rallied, had a great time, and then I guess the cough syrup kicked in. I got like super depressed in the middle of it.
Oh my god, dude.
And I was like, all right, I gotta leave. I gotta get the fuck out of here.
You gotta be careful with that kind of stuff. You never know. I mean, I think the big thing about drugs with me, it's like, it's all about preparation. Especially with like a psychedelic.
Set and setting.
Set and setting. Huge. I know we read that Michael Pollan book.
Yes, How to Change Your Mind.
How to Change Your Mind. Brilliant book.
Amazing book. If you guys don't know who Michael Pollan is, he is an agricultural journalist who essentially started studying psilocybin and marijuana and other like natural plants that have psychedelic effects. And then from there he branched out also into kind of man-made psychedelics, like human-made psychedelics, like LSD, or synthesized psychedelics. That's the word for it.
Right.
So yeah, I don't know if you wanted to add anything onto that.
Yeah, I mean, The book is fantastic. I think it was interesting reading from his perspective because he took psychedelics for the first time when he was like 60.
Yeah, that's
right?
the
like,
crazy part.
He kind of grew up with that stigma of like, all right, you can't take psychedelics.
Yeah, you'll do acid and eat someone's face off.
Yeah, you'll like think you can fly and jump off a building, like those stories, right?
Which got me as a kid too.
No, yeah, absolutely.
For sure.
Propaganda against LSD was pretty insane.
Dude, against every drug, even like PCP. You know what PCP is?
Yeah.
People like, for the longest time, I thought it was like the face-eating drug because that's what you heard of it as.
Yeah.
That like guy in Florida eats other guy's face. But apparently it's like the same as K.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which is what I heard.
Tried it.
Like they're in the same family.
Yeah, that's interesting. Both a dissociative.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
And I guess like the guy, just because some guy ate another dude's face and then the autopsy they tested for PCP, they're like, PCP makes you eat other guys' face. You know, makes you eat other people's face.
They immediately jump to the causation.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, the establishment just wants you to not do drugs, essentially. Yeah. That's what it is.
Yeah, they don't want you to do drugs. And I don't want to get too political here.
Yeah, we'll steer away from the deep political conversations.
But I do want to make one remark.
All right, go for it. We'll talk about it.
Which is like, they did a similar thing with COVID too, where it's like if someone died in a car accident and they had COVID,
right? They would
mark it as a COVID death.
Yeah. No, I know. And I mean, I haven't read the data on that, but I've heard they did that on quite a wide scale. So.
Yeah, I don't know exact numbers, but I know that there were cases of that happening, and all it takes is like, you know, with drugs is one case of someone driving while high and hitting a car, and they were like, oh, well, it's because that person was high.
Right, absolutely.
And it's like, well, who knows? Maybe that person drives high every single day of their life, and that day they happen to get in an accident, and they happen to be high.
No, yeah, and then you think about how many people, you know, get into accidents because they're drinking. But then alcohol is like the cultural drug.
Yeah, it literally.
And that's because it makes you stop thinking. All right, it's all these drugs that make you think a little bit. That's the one that they don't want you to do.
They don't want you to do it, dude. They don't want us to be free thinkers. And this goes back to what I was saying about hyper individualism.
Right. That's
existing today. Is like they don't want it. And there's pros and cons to hyper individualism. Pros, think about how many music genres exist today.
Right.
That's all from hype. That's all from everyone thinking like, oh, I have to be unique. I have to be me. Mm-hmm. And you get so many different genres of music, so many different forms of art, and innovation essentially comes from that, from this sense of individualism, which, if I'm not mistaken, really stems back to the Enlightenment.
Possibly.
Which is during the Enlightenment. Robespierre was the one, I think, who was really pushing for...
Jeez, man, you really did your research.
Yeah, I come prepared for my podcast. No, but yeah, I think it was like during the Enlightenment where individualism really started, and you saw the expansion of music genres from just like classical music into like a lot of more contemporary art forms.
Yeah, they were probably all tripping back then too, right?
Yeah, like I think like almost all of like the famous playwrights were gay, and they did drugs, and like they didn't give a fuck. Yeah. They just lived their life, and that sense of individualism was probably what made their plays. Like Shakespeare, I think allegedly was gay, or had like a male lover.
Yeah, I think so.
And maybe the fact that, you know, they viewed themselves as more of an individual helped their work.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the exact kind of, like, culture that house music grew out of, right?
Yeah.
House did start with the gay community, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yep. Yeah, pretty much. Like, not 100%, but probably like 70% of the people.
It was probably popularized
and
by
drag.
them, at least.
I mean, drag and, like...
Yeah, absolutely.
Vogue, all that was really where house came out of.
The point is, it's just people who are trying to be free thinkers, right? And like that's what house music does. It opens your mind a bit, you know. Yeah
And I think we're kind of going through another cultural revolution right now, which is why you're seeing house become mainstream again. And I think what what's going on is a lot of people are associating house music with anti-establishment, anti-control, which makes it very important to keep house music to the people, not make it become too corporate, which I talked about this on another episode, has its pros and cons of being corporate.
Right. I mean, it's nice to see that more and more people are getting in the house, but I also just love the underground. That's really where I fell in love with it, right? And to see it go mainstream, it's really cool, but I feel like it will kind of lose that intimate feeling that you really are supposed to get with house music.
Yeah.
I mean, Fred again obviously just headlined Coachella, and that was insane. Really huge for house music and huge for Coachella to have EDM as the headliner. And I know a ton of people who went there who don't listen to house music at all, and now they're just hooked.
Yeah.
And that's really cool, but I would like to keep it within our community.
Yeah, but it's inevitable that it's going to grow, and you're getting so many subgenres sparking up too, and the genres are almost ceasing to exist. It's you can't even call genres anymore, because it's there's so many different styles, and I think there's almost a bit too much of a movement to classify things as genres, because if you look at classic rock, Led Zeppelin doesn't sound like the Beatles or Rolling Stones.
Totally different.
Yeah, but they're both everyone considers them classic rock.
Yeah, Zeppelin's something in between heavy metal and classic rock.
Well,
right?
A lot of people did consider them heavy metal for a long time.
Right, but yeah, that's the thing. It's there's so much variation within each genre that at some point the line becomes a blur, right?
Mm-hmm.
And same thing, I'm thinking we have a buddy, TJ, who puts together playlists based off genre, but also vibe, and he has two playlists that one of them, it's called house but not techno, and then one's called techno but not house. It's just because it's hard to tell what the difference between tech house is, and some techno and minimal techno, and some house can be considered techno, that repetitive vibe to it. It's you can't really put things into a category anymore, and that's kind of cool though. There's a lot of variation to play with. It is cool,
and the possibilities are endless with what you can do with music. And now we're seeing more and more with the introduction of electronic music. It kind of did the same thing for music what the internet did for knowledge, which is open the floodgates for everyone to really come in, and be a musician, whereas you couldn't before because you didn't have access to that knowledge. And so now people in rural areas who may have not been able to get music lessons growing up or afford instruments, they can go online, they can go to YouTube, learn about Ableton, and become a master at any instrument.
Yeah. You don't need any equipment to make music now. You just need a laptop.
That's
pretty
it.
Crazy. And I started producing a little bit this year, and it's Jesus Christ, it's so overwhelming.
Yeah.
Ableton is fucking crazy. It's
the learning curve
is
pretty insane with sound engineering and producing and all that. A lot of technical things that you don't really think about when you DJ at all.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And it's you have all these ideas in your head about what you want your track to sound like, but then to actually go and implement that is so difficult.
I had Ableton before I ever got a mixer. Before I got a DJ board, I had Ableton 7 or 8, and and it was, I didn't know what to do with it. I would use it, and I was just so lost in there, dude. I would I would open it, look at it, maybe do a couple things, and just close it, and then I'd try again in a year, for 4 years, until I finally sat down and really put some time and effort into it.
Yeah, there's a point where it clicks, and you're just all right, I have to just work through the pain.
Yeah, I just have to watch
struggle
a 5-hour YouTube video of some Swedish dude. Hey, welcome to my tutorial on how to.
He probably makes the most insane track. In
literally the craziest song.
And then you go in and copy everything that he did, and it sounds like shit.
It sounds like absolute shit.
I remember I tried doing that once. Yeah, I watched this guy. What's his name on YouTube? EDM tips, and he walks you through how to make a track in an hour. And I started copying it. I'm like, okay, I can do this in an hour. He did it in an hour. And next thing you know, it's 3 hours later and I'm still just working on the kick. Which is like what everyone starts with, obviously.
Yeah.
That's the funny thing. You could spend a lot of time on each element.
There's so much you can do. Now, I want to tangent a little here.
Go for it.
Because we were talking earlier about set and setting with drugs. And I think we're talking about genres right now. And I think set and setting with genres is also very, very important.
Yeah.
And this is kind of something that I've been frustrated with the house music scene with, is like they'll book any big DJ for any venue, you know? And not every venue is meant for every DJ.
Yeah.
Or for every style of music, you know? You're not going to put a symphony in Printworks, you know?
Right. Absolutely.
And so I think the same should be like, you know, we went to sound for Chris Dussy, Dennis Cruz a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
And I know you had a really good time there, but I thought that was not the set and setting for specifically for Chris Dussy. I didn't think Dennis Cruz was bad at all.
Yeah.
But I think for Chris Dussy, like when I think of like, oh, where do I want to see Chris Dussy? I'm thinking rooftop lounge. I'm thinking like Skyrise somewhere. I'm thinking maybe like a sick bar somewhere, like a really cool low-key bar,
like something more intimate kind
yes, exactly. And like we were there and I was just being bombarded with fucking strobe lights and lasers the entire time, and like the music's like chill, great music, you know? I was enjoying it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, that's just sound though. Sound with those strobe lights, they just love it.
Yeah, but
I don't know why.
When we were there, because we went again this past weekend for Ben Hemsley.
Jesus, that was amazing.
It was so fucking good.
It was like,
but
it was the best that I've seen in
sound. The strobes didn't bother me that night.
Yeah, it kind of complemented his
exactly,
music a lot
and
more.
That's what I was saying. Like the setting matters. Like I didn't think about the strobe lights once because I'm like, fuck, you know, this is like high energy. Let's fucking party music. He opened with Please Playboy, and it was just like, and everyone just got so lit.
Yeah, that's the best when everyone is on the same page. Like no one's distracted by like any conversation or like anything else going on. It's just purely focused on the music. That's what Ben Hemsley did, right? Like we were all just sucked in. But yeah, no, I mean to your point, like Stussy was not, you know, sound was not the right setting for Stussy, for sure. I mean, especially with like strobe lights and stuff, like strobe lights, they're really more meant for like dubstep in my opinion, like not really,
or like hard techno,
or like maybe some hard techno, anything that's a bit more punchy, right? But like minimal is like the opposite of punchy.
Minimal's like soft. It's like
minimal's like
it's like lounge
waterfall
music.
You know, it's like so chill. I think a lot of house music is like that too, but then you do get those kind of punchier, like sharper genres, kind of like what Hemsley was playing, or like techno.
And it was really, really sick to see Siegel, to see Mendel Siegel play there.
Yeah, I really thought he did a great job.
He did a great job, and by the time this comes out, he would have been on last week's episode.
Yeah.
So, it was funny because him and I recorded that, and 2 days later he got booked for sound.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So he didn't get a chance to promote that at all, or anything like that. But I'll be talking to him again soon, and I'm sure by the next time I'll talk to him, he'll have played a lot of more spots. I mean, he's moving to Miami, but it was really, really sick to see him play essentially the biggest club in LA, the biggest house music club in LA.
Yeah, no, he's working his way up there.
He really is, and he knows what he wants. He really loves it. He puts a lot of time and effort into it. And compared to a lot of the other people I see really going for it and gunning for it, you know, I favor him because I think, you know, he just has a more elevated taste in music than a lot of the other people.
Yeah, I feel that. I think that's something I noticed with his set too. It's like he didn't play a single track that I knew, and
he never does.
I love that in a DJ, right? Like, I don't want to go hear like John Summit play Deep End when I go see John Summit.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? And like that's the problem with house, going into the mainstream is that
exactly
a lot of mainstream people who are not like really really into it, but they enjoy it. Like, fair play to them, of course. But like they want to see John Summit because they want him to play Deep End.
Yeah, and,
you know what I
and
mean? Like,
there's other DJs, like you take Walker and Royce, for example, are freaking amazing producers, make some sick songs, but it's because they're so good at producing that there's this expectation for them to play their songs every time they play. And it's like, I've seen them so many times at this point that like it's hard for me to go see them because I know what I'm going to get every time.
Exactly.
And it's like, maybe the first 5-6 times I saw them, I was loving it. I still, their music is so good. The music they produce is like...
Yeah, they're great. I mean, they're one of the people that got me into it. Right?
Yeah,
like,
for sure. Me too.
I think it was the only set from that live that we went to that I actually remember.
Because they played... Oh, we saw Omnom too.
Yeah, we saw Omnom.
And he played that track...
I think we saw Vanessa as well, now that I think about it.
What was that track from Omnom? The Gop remix.
Oh, the We Work It?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We doing Kane.
Dude.
We smoking.
Dude, Dirty Bird 2017 to like 2019 was insane. Like, they were just dropping some of the most disgusting
Yeah, it was
tech house
actually
tracks
insane
ever. I think that's like what brought a lot of people into it.
Dude, I mean, yes, and they don't get enough credit for that. People don't realize the rise of Fisher is essentially Dirty Bird and Chris Lake and also Cutsnake. Fisher was a part of Cutsnake, so
yeah, Cutsnake's great too. By the way,
he's so fucking
I don't know.
good.
Have you seen Cutsnake?
Yeah, I have. I've seen him a couple times.
Yeah, incredible.
He's so good.
Incredible.
He's Australian, right?
Yeah, he's from
the you fucking Aussie kind.
Or the big lays in it. That's more
what
British.
Are you talking about?
Yeah.
No, they're Australian.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, we have to do our Scouse version of the big lays.
We're gonna make the Scouse version of and for someone who doesn't know what Scouse is a person from Liverpool. They're a Scouser.
Yeah, Matan and I love their accents. They just have the most unique sound to them. They sing when they speak.
And when we were in Miami, him and I we were at Get Lost, which is Damian Lazarus's music festival, and at Get Lost we were singing Masano, who's an Afterlife DJ, and he was playing, I don't know, he's playing his music, and we looked up, we were like, where's this guy from? And it turns out he's from Liverpool, and we lost it.
Yeah, we lost it.
I
wouldn't associate Liverpool with like melodic techno.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, what do you reckon they actually listen to that? Like, probably like drum and bass, or like
yeah, they definitely love drum. I mean, all over the UK,
like
they love drum
stage,
and bass.
I don't know, like
I love drum and bass though.
Yeah, drum and bass.
I really want to go to the UK and be in like the grime of the UK.
Yeah.
I want to do that. I want to go to like Bristol and Liverpool and go to some raves there and be like, fuck, like, because that's a big place where raving originated. Bristol specifically. I mean, I really want to go there, but like garage. I mean, that's where it really originated, is there, and like break and stuff like that.
Yeah, you catch a couple games of footy as well.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Easy.
That'd be nice. I haven't been to. I've been to one Premier League game in my life.
Just one.
Oh
yeah, it was Liverpool City, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it was such a good game.
Coutinho scored that absolute slapper.
Yeah, and Henderson scored one like actually 20 feet away from me. It was crazy.
Dude, Coutinho at Liverpool was so good.
He had the potential to be one of the best Premier League midfielders ever.
Yeah.
Ever. He was the most well-rounded.
Players, they get too drawn in by like Barca and Real. When like it's just not a suitable fit for most players.
Yeah.
It's like, just
Real does
stay
it right,
in the
dude.
Prem and prove yourself there. Like,
Real really does it right. When you look at like clubs in terms of ownership and management, how to do it.
Yeah. No, I mean,
they have faith.
They're the most successful club ever, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think you can debate that.
No, you can't. You can't. No. They're doing it again this year. They're about to be in the Champions League final.
You think they'll beat City? I don't know.
Fuck, I hope so. I really hope so.
I hope so.
I want to go to Madrid though. I hear it's a really, really cool city.
Yeah. Never been to Madrid. I mean, I haven't really been to Europe that much. I've been to France recently, which is pretty cool, but with the family, right? So
Yeah.
you're gonna get a totally different experience going like with your buddies or alone for that matter. But yeah, I would love to go rave in Europe. I need to go check out Germany. Right?
Yeah, so
the
I
UK.
raved in all these places. I was just a kid, dude. I was 17.
You just didn't know. Right?
I was like just getting into it. So like when I went to Berghain, I didn't know it was Berghain.
Yeah.
I didn't know where I was.
Yeah.
You know, it's just a club that I couldn't use my phone in, and there was some weird, freaky shit going on, and everyone was like, "Oh, you have to dress crazy, you have to do this." We were normal, dude. We were just 17-year-old kids.
I feel like that's scarring for a 17-year-old to go and see all that shit.
Yeah, it was crazy, and just like we talk about drugs and stuff in America. The way they do drugs there is a different fucking level.
Yeah.
Specifically the Brits, dude.
Was it just like quantity?
It's just like you have
do
random
more.
people coming up to you like, "You got any pills? You have anything I can do?"
Yeah.
In the club. Just random people, and they'll come up to you and they'll ask you for drugs shamelessly.
Yeah.
Which
They
is just
don't
like
give a fuck over
they don't
there.
give a fuck. Yeah, that shit's
Dude, that's why the scene's so lit there. They don't give a fuck.
They don't
They
give
go
a
all
fuck.
night.
They go
Yeah.
all night.
Sound like Ben Hemsley ended at 3. You know, and we went up to him after. We were like, "Where's the afters?" He was like, "Oh, I don't know." And I was like, "Yeah, we end way too early in LA." And he was like, "Yeah." He like kind of acknowledged me a little bit, but not really.
Yeah, it's you know, it's not. I'm sure Sound would love if alcohol sales went later in the night.
Right.
They just lose money every minute they're open that late.
No, yeah, for sure. I mean, we just got back from Miami, obviously, and to go to club space, you know, from like 2 a.m. till 6 p.m. the next day,
Yeah.
like that's unheard of in LA.
Yeah.
You can't do that in LA.
Yeah, no, you can't fucking do that.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, no, you can't do that. You can go. The latest you can go is like till 7 a.m.
Yeah. Like barely though. Like what places actually go till 7?
The warehouses.
Yeah, maybe
The
more.
warehouses. If you come to Katama with us,
Yeah.
then you'll see that's gonna go till like 6, 7 probably.
Cool. Yeah, that's like next week, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
probably
need to
7.
figure out.
Never
what I'm
seen
doing.
them.
I think it's
Him?
just one. I think it's just
Her?
him. I honestly don't know. But I've liked her, them.
Yeah,
music.
I don't know. I don't know like what they're about, but
Um,
I've listened to some of their music, and yeah, I mean, obviously, incredibly talented producers, right?
Yeah, I've been listening to their music. Well, I only had like 2 songs by them. Like a few years ago, I downloaded it. I think one of them was on the USB I gave you, maybe.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
USB.
But, anyways, yeah, I've been following them for a couple years. I was never like a huge fan, and then recently I started listening a little bit more. But really, really excited for that, and then insanely excited for Interplanetary Criminal.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's gonna be a time.
Yeah, I definitely want to go to that one because that's going to be so different to what I usually see.
Yeah.
And it's always great to like just experiment with genres and
Mhm.
different
I mean,
artists.
he's so young and he's so talented, and he did, I think it was like a mix mag or a boiler room or one of those sets. I think it was a mix mag.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you've listened to it, but it was so good, dude.
Yeah.
It was so good.
I need to check it out.
And he's gonna be, mark my words, he's gonna be like what's that guy's name, like Ricky Rubin or whatever.
Yeah, yeah,
He's gonna be like that level.
yeah.
I
That's
genuinely
interesting.
think so.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible, man.
I mean, he had that song, "The Baddest of Them All." Do you know that one?
Yeah, of
Ooh,
course.
you wanna
Yeah,
dance, babe?
I actually heard that on TikTok for the first time.
Yeah, so did I,
That
dude.
shit blew up.
And I didn't even know it was Interplanetary Criminal. I knew who he was. I didn't know that song was him. And then I was one day on his Spotify, and I was like, "Wait, that's an Interplanetary Criminal song?" And it's like, people are slowly liking that sound out here more and more.
Yeah,
And that's where John Summit blew up.
yeah.
TikTok.
TikTok's the place to be if you're trying to blow up.
Yeah, I know.
That's probably something I should start doing, but
Hi, TikTok.
yeah.
This is me, Matan. Make me viral.
Dude, what you need to do is do exactly what John Summit did. Just make a song that has a good, like, 30
Do exactly what John Summit.
And that's exactly what he did. And now look at him.
Now he's.
Now look at him.
My life is Bender.
You know I have that shirt, right?
I do know you have that shirt.
Yeah, I don't wear it anymore.
Yeah.
No offense. I mean, John's obviously very talented.
Of course.
You know, and he was one of the earlier artists that got me into house music, I would say. Oh, you know, like around 2020.
Yeah.
I think that's when he like really blew up. But yeah, nowadays it's just like the frat bro house DJ. Like,
yeah. I mean,
I don't know if I
music
can
is
take
like
that anymore.
that new song.
Where You Are.
I don't know the name of it.
Yeah, you don't know it.
But I know.
Dude, but like the thing about that song, especially like if you listen to it after having like worked on Ableton, you can appreciate how good it is. Like it is a good song, but the vibe is just totally not what I'm looking for.
I mean, he's a really talented producer. He just
Yeah.
has like slight autism. He just has very slight autism.
I don't think he does.
Bro.
Yeah, his moves are interesting.
And like,
He does do the same like 3 things.
yeah. Just like, I don't know. I feel like he has autism. And what was he wearing? He wore like a hat that said cunt on it or something like that.
Dude, probably.
Or a bandana, something. He's just like, he's king of the frat bros. Obviously, he's a very talented producer. He wouldn't be where he is if he wasn't.
For sure. I'm sure he's fun to hang out with.
Yeah, I'm sure he's a fucking
Nothing bad against John.
No, I
Summit.
just like to rip on people.
Yeah, like,
yeah.
He's gone mainstream. I can't listen to him anymore.
But who am I to say, you know? I'm just some dude with a podcast.
Yeah, I'm a bedroom DJ. Like I can't judge anyone.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, I'm the best damn bedroom DJ in Irvine.
No, honestly though, you're better than a lot of club DJs I know who are really pursuing. And I would like to think that's because you learned on my decks.
Yeah.
Which
100%. Because your decks, I mean, you can tell them what type of.
Yeah,
decks
I've
are.
CDJ 2000s, and basically they're not 2000 Nexus, so they don't have any sync features or anything like that, and they don't have zoomed in wave either. So you're essentially manually beat matching the entire time.
I mean, it's all by sound. You know, there's nothing to look at
other than the BPM. That's it, which is more than vinyl.
Yeah. No, yeah. So obviously vinyl's like another level.
Yeah.
But like, I would definitely say learning on those decks and learning from you is like why I like picked it up pretty quick. When eventually I did get a controller with the waveform, so I was like, holy shit, you can actually see the music. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
But then another thing, I used to play drums growing up.
Yeah, so you understand
so
the
like
4 to the floor. And...
Yeah, like in terms of like rhythm and timing, like I've kind of always had that just because of the drums. You know, I was not a fantastic drummer, but like
no, but having any sort of musical background makes taking up DJing or producing so much easier than people who don't have a musical background.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Because like you see some of our friends who don't have musical backgrounds try to pick it up, and it's just like miserable.
Yeah, DJ Trainwreck, shout out.
Shout out DJ Trainwreck.
You know who you are. All 3 of you.
All 7.
All 7, yeah. All 7 of
Their numbers grow every day.
Well, we've slowly had people transition from DJ Trainwreck to DJ Decent. You
know,
know, which
we
is
have
pretty
a couple
cool.
DJ Decents.
Yeah, no, we're getting there.
Yeah, so the boys are coming together on their DJ skills. But I've seen some like, and again, I'm not going to name names, but I've seen people come here who have played legitimate festivals.
Yeah.
And they hop on my CDJs, and it sounds like they've never mixed in their life.
Yeah.
And that's because they don't know how to mix, really, or they don't know how to beat match. They know how to use sync, and they don't know phrasing either.
Right.
And when you don't understand those two concepts, you can't be a comprehensive DJ. You can be a very surface level DJ.
Yeah, I mean, especially when you're doing it all by sound, phrasing is like your best friend.
Yeah, you have to know phrasing.
It like you have to get that timing down.
Yeah.
You know, like house music is kind of mathematical in a sense. Like,
for
there's
sure.
a time for every beat drop to happen. You know, and you can tell when a DJ mixes off phrase, you're kind of like your body doesn't flow as nicely with the music.
Yeah, you know,
like it's kind of like a stutter. It's like when your heart skips a beat.
Well, because
you know,
that's I forgot. Someone was saying this years ago when I was first getting into house music, I heard someone say this, and it was like, what makes a good house song is like you have to get the balance between predictability and variability.
Yeah.
And like it can't be too predictable because then no one wants to listen to it, and it can't be too variable because then people want to have essentially a sense of idea of what's going to come next.
Yeah.
Without knowing how it's going to come next.
Yeah.
You know, but they would still want to know when. And that's where phrasing comes in, right? Is the when.
No, absolutely. I think a DJ who does that really well, and this is like the first DJ who I really started like analyzing their mixing technique, but Michael Beebe.
Baby.
Yeah, that guy's just an absolute legend, but the way he mixes, you know, if I'm not mistaken, he loves reverb, and I love reverb too. But he'll like have a track drop and keep the lows down with the reverb up, and then it's really up to him when he wants to bring it in, and like I love that, you know, because that for me, like a good set, like you said, has to be a little bit unpredictable, but it has to make sense mathematically, right? So like you have to have the two, and I think BB does a really good job of like blending those.
Yeah, you know, he's not gonna bring it at the lows in on the third beat.
No, yeah,
he'll bring it in on the fourth.
Exactly.
Like, and that's about like. There's still some predictability with him doing that.
Yeah.
There's still a slight degree. It's just a matter of how much.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But he's definitely one of those masters of his craft for sure.
Yeah, he's just a sick guy. His whole vibe up there, I think that's what people really love about him. Like, he's just cool.
He is cool.
You know, he's not over dramatic. Like, he's not doing those John Summit like fist bumps or whatever. He's just there. He's like
smiling.
He lets the music do the talking. Do you know what I mean? Like,
and he knows how cool he is.
Yeah,
he's always up there, just like, oh.
Yeah, he's just like, I'm throwing the fuck down right
now. But yeah, seeing his rise, I mean, he's probably. I'm trying to think if there's like a more iconic tech house DJ currently.
Yeah, but like still underground. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly. He's not mainstream.
He's not mainstream.
No, he's not. Most people don't know who Michael Beebe is. The vast majority of people.
Yeah.
Don't.
Yeah.
And even people who are like into dance music as a whole, including any form of electronic music, essentially, don't really know who Beebe is.
Yeah.
But a dubstep head probably knows like Fisher. And someone who's really into dubstep probably might know who like Carl Cox and like those people are.
Yeah, no, for sure.
But they probably won't know BB. Maybe now they might. Maybe now they'll know Mochak too and stuff like that. Mochak.
Mochak's pretty interesting. It's kind of funny because Mochak blew up on TikTok pretty much because of how he moved his hands while he mixed. Right, like he did that like weird thing with what's that pulsa track?
The Groovy?
No, not the Groovy Cat. It's like that newer one. It's the one that blew up.
24-hour room service.
Hold on, I'm gonna think of it in a second. Totally blanking on the name. That's so beat.
That happens.
But yeah, like I always wonder if Mochak gets like sick of those tracks that blew him up because people go to see him so they can hear those tracks. You know, so he has to play that Billie Jean remix. You know, like he probably plays that every set, and like he's got to be.
Dude, there's no way these guys don't get tired of it because I get tired. Of the song so fast, and it's like I can't imagine how much these guys like. Even like someone like Taylor Swift, you know, who does like a 200-night tour. And she has to perform the same show every night. I think I'd fucking kill myself.
Taylor Swift is sick, dude.
Taylor Swift.
Honestly, she's a good artist, but I don't like her music.
More like Taylor Rift, because I'm going to put on my fucking Oculus Rift and not go to a Taylor Swift concert.
There you go. That's the alternative.
Yeah, put on your Oculus.
You're either a Taylor Swift fan or you play on the Oculus.
Yeah.
That's really it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Taylor Swift is good, but there's better artists you could see out there, especially for us.
Yeah, she's poor girl though. She just has to perform the same music over and over and over again.
I mean, all these artists do. That's the cool thing about being a DJ is like I'm not playing any of my own music. You know, I can play everyone else's music.
There's endless music out there.
It is insane. I actually I have a playlist on Spotify that I update like every week, and there's probably like 3,000 tracks in it.
Yeah, it's just like there's so much, and there's so much more on Bandcamp and SoundCloud and Beatport. Spotify is like just one level of it. And then you take like vinyl, all the shit that came out on vinyl, but like it's so easy to produce a track now. It's so easy.
Yeah.
Like if you have the right plugins and stuff, like in Ableton, you can pretty much get plugins to like make a track for you if you know how to use plugins really well.
Yeah, I've been seeing ads as well for like baseline AI generators.
Oh yeah,
you know,
I see
like,
those.
Like, what is that gonna be like, man? When AI takes over music, fuck. I don't want that to happen.
Yeah, where they'll like make a chord lead or something, a chord progression for you.
Yeah, I mean, people are already doing that, but eventually, like, the AI will just make the whole track.
Well, I think it's doing that already. I swear.
Yeah. Well,
I think but it's hard to program. There's not like.
I don't think the quality of the tracks is there quite yet, but it for sure will get there.
Yeah, for sure.
Which, like, God, man, like, what's gonna happen then? You know, is AI gonna replace DJs too? You think an AI can,
dude?
DJ.
I saw something like that the other day. I swear to God.
You saw like an AI DJ.
Swear to God. Swear to God. Literally for iPhone, you just upload your songs into there, and you just like choose it. I think it does key and BPM recognition on your tracks and just determines which tracks can go into which, and then it beat matches them for you, and then just like transitions it for you. It's probably not as good as a real DJ.
Yeah,
but
I feel like the transitions are probably just simple. Like
if you have a party, dude, and no one wants to hop on the decks because people actually want to hang out with their friends. You can do that, and you'll have a fucking DJ at your party. And apparently Spotify isn't going to be incorporating that into their algorithm, so that when you put your playlist on shuffle, it'll find a track with a similar BPM and key, and slowly transition into it, so you could listen to DJ sets on your phone.
I mean, that's pretty cool for like transition ideas, right? Like if Spotify chooses two like good complementary tracks, like that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
But dude, have you seen? I saw this TikTok, and this guy's like full like sold out club, and he's just playing songs off Spotify with like that 7-second crossfade.
That's wild.
And like his phone's on like CDJs. So like it looks like he's doing shit, but like he's just playing it off his phone. Like that's crazy, man.
Dude, it's so crazy what people can get away with. I mean, good on them. He figured out the cheat code.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, like those people are not famous for mixing, right? Like you're famous for how you produce.
Yeah.
Right. And that's why like a lot of times you'll see DJs or like producers who DJ and they're not that great at it, or like vice versa, right? Like I feel like people who really just focus on DJing and don't produce, those are the best DJs. But like if you start with producing, I feel like DJing is almost something that you do to kind of complement what you're doing.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean it's interesting. There's a lot of variability in terms of skill, you know, if you're gonna see someone famous.
Yeah, you could either see a famous producer or a famous DJ. Like someone like Solomon, that's a famous DJ. That's someone who got famous for DJ.
Yeah.
If you go and see, I'm trying to think, maybe like a Kate Renata. Kate Renata got famous as a producer. I know it's not the best example, but or like Flume. Holy fuck, have you seen Flume live?
Nah.
Oh, dude.
Never seen him.
You don't want to.
No?
He's such a talented producer. He's such a good producer. He makes great music. But when I saw him DJ, dude, and to be fair, I saw him a long time ago, so maybe he's changed his set a little. But it was just, all right, I'm going to play this track out. It's going to end, and then I'm going to press play on the other deck.
Yeah, that's like DJing 101. That's how you start.
Yeah, literally.
Right, that's probably not what you should be doing at a festival there, to be fair.
No, and that was at Coachella.
Yeah.
So,
there you go.
But
But again, like, he's famous for his production, which is obviously incredible.
I don't think it was at Coachella. I take that back. I think I did see him at Coachella. I don't think I liked that either, but the one that was particularly bad was at a club in downtown LA.
Nice.
Yes.
Yeah. There you go.
But a couple things. Any gigs coming up, JAMO?
Gigs. I am playing at Pattern Bar on May 26th.
Nice.
So that's
Pattern Bar, May 26th.
Yeah.
Be there.
If you want to check it out, I'm going to be opening for DJ Intensity. Have you ever heard of him?
No, I haven't.
No. Yeah.
Nice. Who is that? Is he intense?
Yeah, he's pretty intense, honestly. No, he's a nice guy. I met him. I played at Silent Disco like 2-3 weeks ago at Station.
Oh, you did mention.
Yeah,
you did mention him.
And he was like basically headlining that. There weren't really like headliners there, but he like heard me mix. He was like, "Oh, I really like your style. Like,
that's awesome.
Come open for me." So
that's awesome.
That's kind of the route I'm taking right now. Just
doesn't seem very intense.
Yeah, he was less intense than his name suggests, I guess.
I feel like John Summit should be DJ Intensity.
Yeah, it's DJ fucking nonstop intensity.
Yeah, DJ Bender.
Yeah, that would fit his vibe, huh?
Yeah.
DJ No Sleep.
Yeah. DJ My Suitcase has a name. What's his suitcase's name?
Samantha.
Yeah.
She's pretty fine.
Yeah, I know. Like, I was like so confused about that the first time I saw him. Like, why is this guy always talking about his fucking suitcase? Anyways, I think that's a wrap.
All right, lad.
Thank you for coming on,
Sounds
JAMO.
good, dude.
Yes.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah,
it was a pleasure.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure. When you're 10 times as big, I will have you back on.
Absolutely. 10 times, dude. That should be pretty quick because I'm kind of small right now. 10 times 1.
10.
Yeah, 10. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, you'll be quick soon, dude.
I'll be back when I'm at 10.
Yeah. All right, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to episode 3 of Euphorics. See you next week.